crafty friends, hope you're doing well. I'm here today with a one-page wonder. Haven't done one in a while, so I'm just going to be using one sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock. This is a coordinations one, so it's got that kind of like textured design to it. And on that I'm going to be decorating with this lovely paper pad. This is a Hunkydory Paperpad, and it's called Duo Designs. So it's 8 by 8 and it's got these beautiful images in. And obviously there's reverse pages as well. So going back to a paper pad today, because I'm going to do something different. So on one side is these gorgeous images, and on the other side is kind of like letters. I'm going to cut this out. Love this little love design here. So I'll link that pad below. I got this from Craftstash UK. There is also a Craftstash USA, I do believe. So these colours are going to link in perfectly with this design. Now I haven't made one of these yet. I saw a picture or kind of like picture tutorial on Pinterest. So I've looked at the measurements, I've written them all down, so I'll put them at the description below. And yeah, hopefully this will work. So first thing I'm going to do with your piece of 12 by 12 paper is to cut it in half. So it's 12 by 12, so I'm just going to cut that down to 6 inches. And there we have our two 6-inch pieces. Now I'm going to bring in my scoreboard on the inch side, and I'm going to score these down. I'm going to put them together so I'm going to know they're exactly the same, and I'm going to score at 4 inches and 8 inches. And I'm just going to lift that off. I know it's gone through, but I'm just going to do it again on here. There we go, so 4 and 8 inches. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down on this panel here 3 inches, and I'm going to cut along there. Okay, so again I'm going to put these both together. So turning it around so it's a long way along here. And because this is 6 inches, I'm just going to come along and mark in at 3 inches there. And then just cut that in my trimmer. So like I said, I'm only cutting down to this first score line. Okay, don't go any further. So pop that in, line that up there. I'm actually going to start this on my line and then go up. Okay, so you get these kind of like flaps like that. Now keeping these together, I'm going to get in my 1-inch punch. So this is just a 1-inch hole punch, and I'm going to measure halfway. So if these are now 3 inches, obviously halfway is just 1.5, and then 4.5. Okay, so making sure it's all measured up, I'm going to come in with my punch and centering that up, cut there, and this side, make sure it's centre. And cut there. Okay, so you've got those two little notches. So now your pieces of paper will be absolutely identical. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick these two pieces together. Now with my cardstock, this kind of side is slightly different to this side. So I'm going to actually turn this one over. So when I stick them together, the textured piece of paper will be on the outside of both of those. Now to do this today, I'm just going to fold those up, because they're going to create our little pockets. And fold those. And I'm going to actually use red liner tape. So this is really thin and very, very strong. So obviously instead of glue, I'm going to go down my 1, 2, 3 edges there, and then my 1, 2, 3 edges there to create my pockets. So we have our red liner tape all the way around the edge. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, is I'm going to put my two sides in together. So all I'm going to do is take this one now, take the top off my red liner tape and just very carefully stick these down together. Okay, so red liner tape is off. That is such a fiddly job. Now I'm going to go over this, and I know it sounds strange, I've got red liner tape down, but if you put red liner tape down like I did on here and lift it, it will rip. Okay, so I'm going to put some wet glue over the top, just a tiny little bead of wet glue, and that's just going to give me a little bit of wiggle room when I put the top and the bottom together. Okay, so it's just taking that immediate stick off. It will still use red liner tape, it will still stick between this, but this gives me that little bit of wiggle room. Okay. Okay, so get that a nice push down, and there we have our two little pockets here. Now what this has done is I'm now going to open this up, because obviously these two pieces are now stuck. I'm going to push that bit back that way, and then I come over the other side and push this bit back that way, and now this has created a kind of like pocket in the middle. Okay, so this is almost like our binding. This is what keeps it together. So now I'm going to fold this edge in, but when you're folding it in on your score line, make sure it's not right over, it's just before that there. And again, come in and give that a really good crease, and then make sure that these open up nicely as well. So you've got a page here and then your two bits here. Do the same on the other side, so folding that over. Give that a real good crease, and obviously making sure that these still flip. There we go. So we've got our book like this. Okay, so this will then open up, and we'll have this page here, we'll have our two center pockets, and then we'll have this flip here. Now I'm not going to leave these as they are, okay, because I'm going to close this and close this, and this becomes our outside cover. So I'm going to actually cut this part away, because what I want is a pocket. So I'm going to measure up on here 2 inches, and just pop a little mark there, and I'm going to cut that along to this pocket up here. So I'm going to cut that part away. All right, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. No, I'm not on this side. I'm trying to think what I was going to do. On this side, I'm going to cut half of this away. So I'm going to create 2 different types of pockets. So this side should measure 4 inches. So at 2 inches, I'm going to cut that part away, and I'm going to use that as a belly band in my book. So popping this in here. So this side, cut away 2 inches, and the other side I'm cutting on the slant. So where I measured my 2 inches up and where my corner meets. So my 2 inch line was roughly there, and I measured up to there. Okay, so that's given you 2 pieces. I'm just going to put to one side for now. So this side I've got a slanting pocket, so I'm going to actually fold this, and then I'm going to glue just down these 2 edges here. But before I do that, I'm going to put some paper in here. Same on this side, this is going to be a pocket that I'm going to glue here. But again, I want to cover this with some nice paper first. So I'm just going to bring my mat in. And I'm going to bring my paper pad back in as well. Now this paper does have a sheen to it, so there's a slight shine on this, which I don't mind. I think it's quite nice. It's obviously when it's under the white light of my camera, it does show up. My theory behind this was I love this red design here, these roses, and I thought that would look really lovely on that part there. So I'm going to choose a backing. So I'm going to come in just to match my paper up. I think that's a bit too pink. So I'm going to use this one as a backing. So this is lots of like letters. And I'm just going to bring that in and I'm going to measure. So this should be 4 inches. So that is 4 inches. So I'm going to cut my paper at 3.5 by 5.5. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave a 1/4 inch gap. So 4 3/4. So it's 4 inches. So I'm going to do 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. I'll just write that down for myself because I tend to forget things. So obviously because this is a long way down, I want that long way down there. So I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4 and then 5 3/4. There we go. And trusty old distress ink, vintage photo. Just going to come in and ink the edges. There we go. So come in with the glue and edges first. And then just a wobble down the middle. There we go. So that should fit in there beautifully. Just leaving that edge all the way around. And because this is tacky glue, it will dry clear. It's one of those little squodgies you won't see. So now I've got my backing on there, I can then close this. So just down this edge here and along the bottom. And there we go, glue that one shut. So that's made our first pocket there. So like I said, I'm going to come in with this paper here, and I quite like that, but I'm not going to fussy cut it. I am actually going to tear it. Now I'm just going to tear along this edge. I'm hoping that's going to fit beautifully. There we go. Oh, look at that, amazing. So just need to tear a bit more off that edge there. Tiny bit more. And I love torn edges. I think they just look beautiful. Doesn't look too... Now do I ink this little bit of ink along that torn edge? It gives it that kind of almost burnt look, and it gets rid of that white paper core as well. Not too worried about that edge because that's nice and dark anyway. So let's glue that down. And along my wobbly edge. Okay, and stick that in there. So that's our first pocket done. Nice backing in there, and obviously we've got our pocket in there. I'm just going to get rid of that little mark I made when I did my measuring. There we go. And I think I'm just going to cut these butterflies out as well, because actually, being part of that paper, they make quite a nice embellishment. So I'm just going to Just go around the edge. I'm not too worried about antennas. Doesn't matter if they're there to me or not. Sure it does to the butterfly. Okay, that's one. But like everything when we do our journaling, it's personal opinion, it's art, it doesn't have to be perfect. I can always go in and draw them on again if I wanted to. Okay, so I'm just going to pop those on there. And I'm just going to glue those two edges either side because I'm going to make it kind of 3D. So if I pop that down first and then just lift that up, push that in, and give our butterfly a 3D effect. And then just do the same. I'm just going to stick this one down flat, just at the top there. Go. So I'm going to turn to our back one now. So again, I'm going to put something on this page here before I stick this down. And I think I'm going to keep with the same theme of the letters. I've got this bit left over from this side. So I'm just going to measure that. So that was 3 3/4. So 3 3/4, and again 5 3/4. And there we go. So that's going to go on that side. Again, just inking first. I will link, obviously, like I said, to Craftstash. It's a really good company. If you don't have, I mean, a lot of people get used to their brands that they like, the Crafter's Companion, Hunkydory. People do tend to go to the same big companies. And I think this one's got a little bit of everything. And I found their delivery is really quick. They do a scheme as well. If you, I think I can't remember what it was now, but you pay so much and you get 10% off every order, no matter what it is. So I thought that was quite a good value, actually. I bought myself a new hot glue gun. And obviously with my 10% off, that paid almost the fee you paid to have the 10% off, which worked out quite well. So if you're going to buy a big buy, it's worth getting that 10% off for a year. There we go. So popping this one down this side. And then just gluing those two edges down. Don't need to do the bottom because that's going to be sealed anyway. There we go. So just hold that while it glues. I slightly push in, just give myself a little bit of a bow there, and it just makes things easier to, you see, get that bit of a bow. There we go. Right, so thinking about this other side now. So I want kind of like a long pattern this time. It's a shame these ladies' faces don't fit because they are beautiful. There's lovely images in here. So for something a bit longer, I think I might use a clock on one of these. That's quite nice. Okay, so this page, I want the dove in it. So I'm going to roughly cut. This needs to be, so that's 2 inches. So I'm going to make it 1 3/4, just getting that dove in either side. So if I do my first, cut there. It's all about just putting the paper down, just measuring what you want in your image, and then just cutting accordingly. So if I cut that there, it's 2 inches, so I want it 1 3/4 inches there. And then again, 5 3/4 down. And all these little scraps, obviously don't throw those away because the other side's got those letters on them. That's going to go straight into my scrap box. Even that little bit there will be useful for something. I'm going to do a scrap video because I've got so many scraps at the moment with lots of projects I've done. My box doesn't actually close. So I might just do some master boards. Obviously, like, I know a lot of people know how to do master boards, but some of my new followers might not know how to do a master board. I haven't done a master board in ages. So yeah, it's something that I will use, something that I need. So I'm just going to video myself doing it for those of you that don't know what to do or how to do a master board, or don't know what to do with things, master boards, after you've made them. So a lot of people say, what do you do with all the stuff you've made? Well, yeah, we can show you. So again, down the edges first. And then just a wobble in the middle. There we go. So that's my pocket here, my back, my pocket on the front here. So then obviously we've got our front to do here and our back on there. So I'm going to have a look at the pockets first. Actually, I might do the front. And look at this lovely lady on here. Just absolutely love that image. It's stunning. So again, front cover is going to be the same as 4 inches, so it needs to be 3 3/4. I'd rather have, so 3 3/4. I'm going to cut this side first. And then 3 3/4. Lovely, so that works really well. And it was 5 3/4 down. So that actually gives us a really lovely image there for a front cover. Come in and ink around that. Okay, gives that real vintage look now. So making sure I've got this the right way around. I'm actually going to on my front cover as well, just to take off this block colour. Doesn't make much of a difference, as you can see, but it just gives it that kind of like vintage look. I was reading a blog post the other day, someone was saying, have we got too vintage? Where has all the colour gone? And I thought actually that's quite interesting, because a lot of the people I watch on their YouTube channels, we're doing all junk journals, which is our browns and creams and yellows, and actually have we lost that ability to just make something really colourful? Food for thought. Perhaps you could use junk as a base and then use some more colours. I don't know what your opinions are on that. Okay, so that's my front. So just going to pop this down now. And there are some lovely coloured, obviously it's now coming up to Christmas, so I think we are going to be more colourful in our creations. There we go. So pop her down on the front, and I will embellish this in a little while because I think that's quite plain. So one thing I might do is put some lace on there. So let's bring my lace box. I think a nice lace down that spine would look quite nice. A bit too wide. It's quite a nice one. I'm just going to get my hot glue gun out. This is the one I bought. It's a Sizzix one. And like I said, I got this from Craftstash with my 10% off. And that worked out quite a nice price. And it doesn't take long to heat up. It's got a little stand. So yeah, love it. Little on-off switch. Right, let's pop that down, ready to go. So while I'm just waiting for my hot glue to heat up, I'm just going to do my back page. So let's have a quick look. Not quite like that. Letter. So I'm going to use this page here with that letter in the back. And that should just measure straight in at 3 3/4. Perfect. And then 5 3/4 down. Lovely. I've got that lovely bit of text in there as well. Always and forever. And an awfully frayed cut. And again, just going to come in and ink around the edges. Doesn't show up on the darker colours. That just catch them, the lighter kind. This tacky glue is quite nice. You don't need an awful lot for it to just stick, as long as you get those edges down. These papers are just beautiful. They all coordinate lovely once you pick a colour theme. Lovely. Look at that. So front cover, obviously just going to add the lace to that. So we've got our inside. So now I need to think about these little pockets. I think I might just come in with some more. This is a slightly grayer colour. So these are 2 inches. Excuse me. No, it's not, it's 3 inches. So if I do those at 2 3/4, and then just punch the hole out. So 2 3/4. And then across is 4, so I can do them at 3 3/4. So that should fit in there. So I'm just going to nick the top of that, because if you can see, have I lined that up there? It just goes on my pocket, so I'm just going to nick the top of that slightly, so it should, fingers crossed. Where's my hole punch? There it is. So I'm measuring that up there. On either side, so that's going to be the centre. And again, if I do them both together, just nicking that little tiny bit out. Fingers crossed. Perfect. It's given us that little border there. So I'm just going to go around with the ink again. Whoops. And even though this is kind of like that shinier paper, the ink takes really well onto this. Doesn't rub off or anything. I quite like glossy papers. I think they make it look quite luxurious. So gluing down all of those edges. More haste, less speed. There we go. Beautiful. Love that. And then the same for the other one. Suddenly realise I'm doing things at my own little world. I'm not actually in camera shot. There we go, and that's our second one. And again, just lining that up. Okay, so that's our left side of our pockets. So other side, I'm just going to do exactly the same. And I've got this strip left from where I tore off those roses. So again, rather than waste it, I'm going to use it. So 3 3/4. And then 2 3/4 wide. And do the same trick this time this side. So again, lining those up. And just marking that central point. I'm just taking a tiny little notch out. Okay, hopefully that will work the same this side. So I think it's good to kind of like branch out sometimes from the people you usually buy from. So when I first started card making, I would only ever buy from Crafters Companion, which is why a lot of my stuff is purple. And they're still an amazing company, but I think it's always good to kind of like see what else is out there. These obviously paper pads are Hunkydory, and you can get some really lovely paper pads. They don't have to be from the same place all the time. I think it's really good to shop around. Obviously quality wise, you need to make sure you're getting a good quality. I know that Hunkydory is a really good brand. So I'm never disappointed with anything I kind of like get from there. And as like I said, I think you always get what you pay for. I think if you buy cheap stuff, especially paper pads, they don't really cut as well as more expensive ones. Okay, so lining that up again, sticking that down, and other side. Just clean that little bit of spillage up there. So my pockets are now covered either side with that lovely paper, and we've got our pocket in here and our pocket in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pockets. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that lace down the edge. So I think I might have that slightly sticking out that side. I'm just going to cut that a bit bigger, but all the excess isn't going to get in the way. So if I think about where I want that to stick out and where I want my glue, I want my glue to be no further than that. Okay, so just coming in with my hot glue gun. I'm just going to wiggle a line down here. Pop that straight on. right. Don't think that edge. And then once that's stuck down, I can then just trim the edges. There we go, give that a tidy up there. And same on the bottom. It's quite tricky to get at this angle. There we go. So there we have our lovely lace on the front. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give some embellishments to this. So I'm going to think about the kind of things I can add just to make that a little bit oh, and obviously need to do our pockets in here as well, so tags. So I'm going to make some tags to go in here now. What I've started to do is collect packaging. So this is some cereal packaging, but on the back you've got this lovely, it's just pure brown, lovely card. And obviously this is fine to write on, and it's a really nice thick quality. So I'm going to use this for my tag today because it's free and it's simple to use. So my tag's going to measure 2 1/4 across. I'm just going to cut off. So make sure you've always got starting on a straight edge. I'm just going to cut that across there. So I now I've got a straight edge along here. Cutting that bit off. That's about. So I've got a nice sharp corner now to start off with. So I want 2 tags at this size, which is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And actually I have to just cut this bit off as well. Okay, so 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. Is it 3 1/2 or 3 3/4? 3 1/2. I'm just going to double check that. So look at my pocket, just make sure that is the right size. Right, so that's not fitting, so it's going to be 2 1/4, not 3/4. So 2 1/4. Nearly cut off way too much then. 2 1/4. Measure twice, cut once. So 2 1/4. And then hopefully that should now fit. Yeah, perfect. And obviously I won't push that all the way down. You'll have something at the top here anyway to pull it out with. So 3 1/2. So that's my tags for my tag pockets in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink around the edge of those. Obviously this side is going to be the back. But when you're journaling on it, that nice little bit of ink around the edges, quite nice. And obviously because you've got a pattern on the front, we do need to cover the whole thing in the patterned paper. So what I've done is I've just pulled out some images that I really liked from the pad. This one's got some lovely musical notes on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my tacky glue all over the back of this. A nice lot of glue on there. And then I know it's going to be roughly here. So turn that over there and just pop that down on there. Okay, give that a good couple of seconds just to hold. Just wipe that glue off there. Okay, and then just come in with my bigger scissors, and you can obviously just cut round that once it's dry. Okay, and there we have our first little card. Just ink around the edges. Okay, and then the second one I'm going to stick on this lovely image here, which is these beautiful roses. So again, just pop the glue all the way over the back. And then this time, because I know I want that image, I can stick that directly in the corner. So there's not as much for me to cut, and there won't be as much waste either. Okay, and then just hold that down. Make sure that takes. And again, just cutting off those edges. Move that slightly over. Coming in with our ink. This is a really quick and easy way to make some beautiful tags. Okay, so I'm just going to get my pencil. I'm going to eyeball halfway. And then I'm going to just pop some eyelets in here. I'm going to punch that hole. I'm going to go for that nice rose gold with this colour. I think that will go really nicely. So popping those in. Oh yeah, definitely goes with that colour scheme. And set that eyelet. And same for this one. So popping it in and squishing it shut. And I'm just going to use some ordinary baker's twine on mine. It's one of my favourite things to use. I'm nearly running out of this one actually. So that. Okay, so I always put the folded edge through first. And then just pop that out the other end. And same the other one. They really are the prettiest little tags. There we go. So that's our two small tags done. There we go. So I'm going to need a larger tag for in here. So we're just going to think about the size we need for that. That's my ruler. Okay, so our pocket's going to measure there. So roughly I would say probably about 3 1/4. So this is going to be more like a journaling card than a tag. So 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. So 3 1/4. Was 3 1/4? Yeah. Just double checking. Once you cut by 5 1/2. Okay, and that's going to sit in there beautifully. What I am going to do is just going to round the corners of this. Actually, I might stick my paper down first and then round my corners. And again, although it's the back side of this, just putting that nice little bit of ink around the edge just gives that journaling card a little bit of extra. Okay, and I'm hoping on the back of this one I should be able to get one of those images of those ladies. Oops, I haven't used already. We've got this lady here, and that does fit beautifully on there. So I need to do a head there. Okay, so glue down first. So lots of glue for this part, so it really does stick, because this is quite a shiny card, and this is tacky glue, but you still need quite a bit to make sure you get that bond on those edges especially, and corners. Okay, and then down the middle. So I can go directly onto the edge of this, because I know that I want that there. So making sure her head all gets in, so roughly about there. So straighten that up and just hold that down. Okay. So once that's stuck down, again just going around, trimming those edges off. And again, please remember to keep all your bits for scraps. This is lovely colours, got all those lovely images, those letters on there, postcards. There we go. Okay, so now that has stuck, I'm going to say it's going to stuck. It might just be a bit damp still. I'm going to try and corner around. Right, that's fine. It's just that it's quite a lot to go through. That's quite a thick card. There we go. So that makes that nice journaling card with the right space to write on the back. And I'm just going to ink up this side as well. There we go. So that will just tuck into there. And then finally, we've just got our nice little tuck spot at the back. Now I did keep that other part for belly band, but obviously I'm not going to be using that as a belly band, so that can just be put into my scraps as well. So again, I'm going to want a nice journaling card in there. I'm just going to see if this is the right size again. No, it's going to need to be slightly smaller, so pop that back in there. Okay, so let's have a quick measure. So I really want this to be, I would say, 3 inches by 5 inches. So coming in, 3 inches, so that whole just one side of a cereal packet's done. Oops, all of those journaling cards with just a bit left over, so actually that's worked out quite well. So just double check that's the right size. Perfect. Again, bring in an image. Okay, I'm going to use this beautiful part here, which will get that. Should be able to get the word memories in as well, or do I take that bit there? Choices, choices. I think I'm going to go for that bit there. Try and get the word memories in. So inking. Just makes that brown card look a little bit different. Okay. And gluing the back. No, lots of glue. I love these little squeegee bottles as well. They're so easy to use rather than a great big bottle of glue. There we go. Right, so I'm going to try and get that with the memories. I'm going to do this. Let's have a look. So that needs to be there. There we go. Hopefully got that word memories on there. Just making sure those edges have stuck down. Again, just come in and trim. There we go. Yay! Got the word memories in there, just. Okay, so again, I'm going to corner around first and then ink those edges up. Oh, you can do it. Let's empty that out quick, it's quite full. There we go. Back in with the ink. Whoop. There we go, another little journaling card in there. Now I've got some numbers and things here. These are from Junk Journal Studio. They're just like basic numbers and things. So I'm just going to try and add a few little things on here. I found this one I quite like. I'm just going to put on the edge there. And that just gives it kind of like a bit of layering to the images, like a label. Gosh. Quickly get that up. No. I'm going to pop that in the corner. Again, these ones here, I might just put some like numbers, just to give it a little bit of a focal point, a bit of interest. Numbers don't really mean anything, but I've got the dropsies today. I tell you what, I'm going to do this off that, and then if I drop them, I won't hit the. So one there, and different numbers. Let's tip that out. Tip them out and I can have a good old look. Same numbers. I might do that one. Let's put it on opposite corner. Make sure it's straight. So just gives a little bit of interest to those two there. It's a bit too big. Another one. Down that corner there. And here, I was thinking about doing some kind of flower. Let's see what we had left over from. It's quite a nice little pink rose. Just going to fussy cut round that. So before you confine anything to your scraps bin, see if you can use it in your project. And I'm not overly careful when I fussy cut because I'm going to ink the edges anyway. It just lifts that flat colour. Gives it a little bit of something extra. Just ink around there. Again, more on the lighter colours than the darker colours. Put that down first. That way. And that just kind of like fills that little blank space with a bit of interest. I'm just chucking everything around now. There we go. Oop. I've got sticky fingers. Happy with the back. So I'm going to put a little bit of something on the front as well. Put the file. I'll tell you what I have got. Is this book came from Craftstash UK as well, and it's all die cut images, so die cut flowers that just pop out. Absolutely love these. I might put a couple of them on the front. Oops, I've done two there, and perhaps a little key to make sure you're not getting two pages at the same time. And these little images just really add. I cut two flowers out and I can't find either of them. There they are. So again, I might do a couple of flowers, and I'm going to raise them up with pads just to give a little bit of interest. Now, you don't need many pads, just a few, just to lift that image. Used to use them a lot when I was card making. Didn't tend to use them as much when I'm doing junk journaling, but actually the last few times I've made little projects, I think sometimes it just lifts that image off the page. So I'm going to glue that down first, and then just pop the flowers over the top. Put that there. Let's pop one that side. And one at the top. Let's pop that little key down the bottom. Just little elements that give a little bit of extra layers. And I might just get some of those little green leaves just to pop out the sides. I don't want anything too big. Just wondering if that one's going to be too... If I tuck it right behind. And these are all die cut, you just pop them out, pop some glue on the back and stick on your project. Let's see if I can find a date one in here. There we go. A little date just to put at the top. Oh, the trouble is with these, you keep going forever. I'm going to leave that there now because I'm quite happy with the way that's turned out. So there we have our little folio. So laced down the edge, these beautiful images. So again, that was from this Hunkydory Paperpad, which I'll link below. And using elements of this one as well, which I'll link below. So we open up. We've got our first pocket in there with our journaling card. made from cereal packets. Then we've got our 2 little flappies in the middle. Okay, both of those have got those lovely tags inside, and then another little tuck spot at the back. And there we have it. So our one sheet wonder with a nice little flat pocket. I think I'll call this a multi-pocket one-page wonder. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You could put one on the back if you wanted to as well. So yeah, multi-pocket one-page wonder. That's a mouthful for you on a Monday night. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you all again soon. Bye, crafty friends.